The Bible is unique, which means different from all others, no like or equal. And the way you can really appreciate that is seeing it in a comparison with other literature. When I was a seminary student, I was at the home of a friend of mine, Dick Day. And that evening there was a knock on the door, we opened. There was a young man who was selling the Great Books of the Western World series. So we invited him in, we cleared off the dining room table, and he laid out the entire sheet of paper with the backs of the Great Books of the Western World. He spent about a half hour telling us about the Great Book series, and I spent a half hour telling him about the greatest book. And when I finished, I challenged him to do this, to take all these books before him, not over a period of 1,500 years, but just 10 years. Not 40 plus authors, but just 10 authors. Not written on 3 different continents, but 1 continent. Not in 3 different languages, but 1 language. Not from all different walks of life, but every author from 1 walk of life. On 1 single controversial subject. Now the Bible writes on hundreds of controversial subjects. I said on 1 controversial subject. I said, would they agree? And I remember he looked at me and he looked at the Great Books of the Western World, looked back at me and he said, no. I said, what would you have? And he said, a conglomeration. I said, that's right. 2 days later, he came back and I had the privilege of sharing Christ with him and leading him into a personal relationship with God through Christ. The Bible is unique. Now be careful. That does not mean that it is true. What it does mean is that any intelligent person seeking the truth would consider a book that has these qualifications.